Welcome back to Photoshop for Photographers, and as promised, today we are going over actions. You can record an action and it saves all the steps that you make, and then you can just click on the button and it runs through those tasks instantaneously. So anything where you have to do a whole bunch of different things to an image that are very repetitive, you can create an action for them, especially if it's something that you have to do all the time. So one of the things you have to do a lot of times is save. So we're gonna just create some quick saving actions here. And basically what this is doing is processing or getting my image ready to put somewhere. So in this case, we're gonna assume that these are gonna go on the web or social media or Instagram or someplace like that. The first thing I need to do is I need to put this image in the ratio or crop it to the way that I want it to look. If you need to crop something, remember we're going to come up here to the crop tool and you want to crop now. Let's say I'm going to keep this and I'm going to make all my images 5:7 for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and crop this. Remember, this isn't sizing this image. It's just changing the ratio to 5:7. So once I've done that, the rest of the image is still there, but I have cropped it and changed it to that specific size. Now, this is one thing that actually Lightroom does really well, because Lightroom will let you apply a size to the long edge, which is either this way or this way if this was a landscape image. A lot of times when I do saving actions, I make one for vertical and another one for horizontal. So I'm going to show you how to just make a vertical one today. And I'll show you how you can make that so it can either be the same action for vertical or horizontal, or you can make separate ones. It's really up to you. Kind of depends the way you work. I prefer, as you can see, horizontal, vertical. So to create an action, the first thing that we need to do here is we need to go into there and we're going to turn it off button mode. Then we're going to come back over to the menu. We're going to select new action set. So think of set as like a group or like a folder that you're going to put the actions into. In this case, I'm just going to call them test saving. So I'm going to put all these actions. They're going to be grouped together and they're all saving actions. So we're going to go ahead and OK. Next thing we're going to do is create the actual action. So we're going to go up here to new action and I'm going to call this vertical 1500. So that meaning vertical, and it's going to be 1500 pixels in dimension height wise. You can add a function key to it. So any function you want. So this could be function F5. If you want it to be shift F5 because you already have something as F5, or shift command PC, this will be control. But anything you'd want to do, we're not going to actually assign a function key for it. But when I worked in journalism, I definitely saved it. I had function 1 as horizontal and function 2 as vertical. It's really time saver if you do something repetitive over and over again. The next thing we're going to do is you can assign a color. So we'll go ahead and just make this one violet. And then we're going to hit record. And you can see down here, it's going to start recording. Now it's not recording my mouse moving. I have to do something in Photoshop for it to work. So we're going to do just a series of things. Some of them I would do, some of them I wouldn't normally do. But we're going to come up here and we're going to go to layer, flatten image, and that's going to make that one solid image. So one of the things that you have to run into is, let me hit Command Z. When you do an action, when you don't sharpen an image, you have to be on the image to sharpen it. So a lot of times I'll do flatten image. It just solves the issue of making sure that I'm on the correct layer to actually sharpen. So that's why I do that kind of flatten image. So we'll do layer, flatten image. Hopefully that won't mess it up because I did it twice. Next thing will come is you don't really need to be in 16-bit. So I can make this 8-bit. This isn't something you need to do. In Photoshop, if you save out as a JPEG for the web, it's automatically going to convert it to 8 bits. But we're just doing this so you can see what an action does. Now remember, I've already converted this to 5:7. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to go to image, image size. And remember, I wanted to make this 1000 pixels or 1500 pixels. So we're going to make that vertical height 1500. It's automatically going to do everything else here. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to resize that image, which is good. The next thing that we need to do is sharpen this image. So we're just going to go up to filter. I'm just going to do unsharp mask today. We're going to do 25153. That's a setting that I normally do for an image that's close to this size. I might do 20, but that looks good. So we're going to sharpen that image. So now we've got image size, unsharp mask. The last thing we're going to do is convert this to sRGB. So I work in Adobe. So we're going to go down here to convert to profile. Now everything on the web needs to be in the color profile sRGB. So you can see my source space of what I'm working in is this, and I want to convert to this. So I'll just go ahead and hit OK. And that did that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually hit stop here. So I'm going to stop this action. And I'm going to go ahead and go back up to button mode. And we're going to have to scroll way down because this should be at the bottom. So here, this is right here. I'm going to hit revert. So revert's going to take me back to how I was originally in this image here. I am going to have to crop this at that kind of 5:7 ratio if I want it to be like that. And now I can go to this action and I'm just going to go ahead and click this and it's going to run through that whole process. So we can see I'm going to click this and boom, it just did everything that I just did instantaneously. And now this image is ready to save out. So I can go Command-Shift-S and save this to wherever I want. As a JPEG, you can see that sRGB color profile is right there. And I'm not going to save it, but that's what you would do. So you can see I made a vertical action to do that little process. Now here's the cool thing. So we're going to hit button mode. I'm going to scroll down and right here we have that image size. And right over here is a little box and you can check. So this is image size and there's a little box here that I've ticked. Anything that has a numerical import, you can check a box next to it. So I could actually do this on unsharp mask as well, but we're just going to do it on image size. And I'm going to show you what happens when you check that little box. So we're going to go up here to revert. We're going to make this 5:7 again. Remember, it's just a ratio. It's not sizing it. And then we're going to click that action. And what you're going to see is that where we made that box, which was on image size, it will stop. So in the case, if you just want to make a sizing action for horizontal or vertical, you can actually stop the action on any numerical input. So right here, I could make it 1500 pixels this way and then finish out that same action. So it is possible to resize it, but you have to stop the action. To me, it's just easier to have two buttons right next to each other, one vertical, one horizontal. Just to click it, I don't have to hit that stupid little button and I'm good to go. And this works for anything. You could do this for curves adjustments or anything that you really want to do. Now, I will be going into further in depth in the actions later in this series, but that's basically how you create an action to save inside of Photoshop. You just have to decide what you want the action to do. In this case, you might have some actions that save at 1500 pixels. You might have some that save at 6000 pixels, 800 pixels. It doesn't matter what they save at. You basically just need to design actions or anything that is a repetitive task that you don't want to go through that series of adjustments. You can just click one button and it does everything for you. And as you can see, I might have quite a few actions that I use. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.